All right, Donald Trump's plane arriving now in Wilmington, North Carolina. He'll make a pitch there in another battleground state that is surprisingly close. And apparently he's got this big old 2-minute ad, better than that, I think, that's going to be running on all major stations throughout the weekend and into Election Day. Trump donor Foster Freeze with us right now. You know, he's generated a great deal of funds and money. Foster, what do you make of what's been going on for your candidate?
Well, I just saw an ad he put out that's probably one of the most inspiring ads I've seen. It got people all stirred up about taking our country back, and it's beautiful. And then also, Pence did a surprising one that is going to be delivered to church groups, where he talked about the importance of restoring the values that made our country great. So I'm really encouraged and excited. I'm so gung-ho about this. I believe that this could be equivalent to the coming down of the Berlin Wall. It's in the same
Well, it would
league,
be a surprise and a shock and an upset of the century if he won, but now that doesn't look so crazy. So when you talk to those in the party who are still reluctant, or, you know, and many, many more have come back into the fold, what's the closing argument you make, Alan?
Oh.
I'm sorry, Foster.
Foster, yeah, okay. I think the closing argument is that people have to put aside the trivia and the distractions and think about just one thing alone, or the 2, 3 things, one by one. I was just in London, and the national healthcare system there just reported last year they had 10,000 people who had to wait 6 weeks for a diagnostic test. 6 weeks for a diagnostic test. They had 29,000 people who showed up at the emergency room and sat on the gurney for more than 4 hours. So we want our federal government to take over the health care system, and that alone is probably the #1 issue why Donald Trump it's a layup. And then secondly, you got the issue of confronting the global jihad movement. During the debate, Hillary Clinton says, well, I'm for arming the Kurds in a no-fly zone. She's been in power for how long? Why hasn't that happened? It's either because she's incompetent to make it happen, or it's one of her public statements or her private comments. I sat next to the fellow who's in charge of Iraq, and he said the State Department policy is not to arm the Kurds aggressively because the Baghdad central government doesn't want it. So I'm very excited if people can focus on the issues rather than on the sideshow. We've turned this into a very sophisticated Jerry Springer show, Neil.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of blame around for that. After mentioned that, said Alan, I was referring to subliminally Alan Patricof, of course, our next guest, and don't go anywhere, Foster. He's a big Hillary Clinton fundraiser, very close to the Clinton family. And Alan, always good to have you. These polls are very, very tight, no matter what you look at. I'm just curious, as a longtime Clinton family friend, fundraiser, are you worried with what's going on, Alan?
Honestly, I feel better every day. I'm in Cleveland now, out canvassing on the streets of Cleveland, and while you see a lot of signs in both parties, I see hundreds, if not thousands, of Clinton supporters out walking the streets and knocking on doors. So it gives you some idea of the relationship of, you know, how many people are out on one side or the other. And everything I hear, whether it's from Nevada, Arizona, even North Carolina, and definitely Florida, is very encouraging. I mean, Ohio is a toss-up, and that's why I think there's an enormous effort being put in the state here. And you know, I have my own experience from a morning of canvassing, and I'm going to canvass afterwards. But you know, nothing's over till it's over. But I saw Hillary yesterday. She was here for a big concert last night, and she...
Do you think those concerts matter, Al? In other words, whether it's Katy Perry or Beyonce, you strike me as a Beyonce fan, so I'll take that as a given that they matter to you. But that Donald Trump brags about not having any of those kind of circuits. He actually uses it or tries to use it to his advantage. What do you think of that?
Neil, it's not the concert. I mean, people lose sight of it. The fact is there are a lot of prominent people, not just entertainers, who are supporting Hillary. But what was done was that in order to get a ticket to the free concert that they gave last night, the free tickets were given away across from the voting area, so that people were, it was all about encouraging people to vote. I was there at the concert.
Wouldn't that be a killer if you gave tickets to, like, Trump voters?
Well, you know, that's I think that Hillary's campaign is the thesis is the more people vote, the better it's going to be for her. And I think there were close to 20,000 people there.
No, you had a good crowd. Foster Freeze, one of the things, you're still with me, that Donald Trump gets those kind of crowds on his own. He likes to say, we're told that Melania, his wife, is going to introduce him to this Wilmington, North Carolina audience, but that some of the Trump folks regret more Republican superstars, i.e. Paul Ryan and all, haven't come out with him, for him, obviously showing up with the likes of Mike Pence, and there's nothing too shabby there, but the party hierarchy, what there is of it, is still kind of kicking and screaming. Does that worry you, Foster?
Well, it doesn't worry me. It encourages me, because that's what plays into Trump's hand. Trump is gaining all the Democratic previous voters, the truck drivers, the welders, the plumbers, the farmers. And by the fact that these big shots and Republicans are opposed to Trump, that is a magnet that draws all these people to him. So I don't know if Trump paid him to do that or not. Maybe he's got Romney and Kasich on the payroll. And I think the Romney and Kasich followers... I think it's safe to say that's
probably not the case. Alan Patricof, could I ask you, when you step back and you look at what's going on these next few days, could you have envisioned the race this tight, that safe Democratic battleground states like Pennsylvania, for example, the ticket's trying its darndest to nail down, even at this late stage?
Well, there's another example. I know for a fact that there were thousands of people who were headed out from New York on buses today and tomorrow to campaign in Pennsylvania. And
but are you worried that they even have to do that?
Well, I don't think that. I think that's the citizenry who are emotionally motivated and going out and getting involved. And you know, Pennsylvania is an important state, but I think the surprising thing is that Arizona is going to, I believe, go for Hillary. I think Nevada is going to go for Hillary, and I think North Carolina is in a very strong position, and Florida. So these are, you know, as you know, if Donald Trump does not win Florida, he's not going to become president of the United States. So Hillary flew out of here last night to Florida, and she's coming back to Ohio, I understand, tomorrow. And there, you know,
yeah, but she's in Florida right now, Alan, and Foster. We're going to dip into her in a second here, but this race is really tight. She scored in the latest Fox poll a few more independents than she had last week. Are you worried that Donald Trump's advance might stall now?
Are you speaking to me? No,
yes,
I think the momentum is there, and it's really a very, very close race. But what surprises me, how many people still support Hillary after all of the things that have come out about just for that NBC flare-up, where after the Matt Lauer conference, where she apparently, according to observers, threw a glass of water in a staffer's face and called Donna Brazile a brain-dead buffalo, and you know, and talk about temperament on the bad language she used. I don't understand why
we don't have proof of that, and I can't tell you how many times I've done that to my staff, Foster. I've done it all the time.